So I think first of all, we have to go back to writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
And I said, let's pick them up. Let's take them back to Nigeria and let's teach them a different kind of job.
It's a lovely time again with the program, The Woman. I know this period is not a very funny period. We're talking coronavirus or COVID-19 as you choose to call it. I always say it's one big sickness that came with a guy name or nickname, whatever you choose to call it. It is one sickness that we must find a way of driving out of our society. Today on The Woman, I have a special guest joining me via Zoom, all the way from the United States of America. She's been here before, and we're having her again talking science this time. She is a very experienced researcher and educationist, a seasoned entrepreneur, and if I must add, presently she is the coordinator of professional development for International Education Committee of American Society for Microbiology in Asia, South America, and Africa. She's also the chairperson of International Advisory Board of the multi-million-dollar World Bank project in Nigeria. She is a project reviewer for the National Science Foundation of the United States of America. There are other things to her CV, but let me leave it for now and talk about it as the program unfolds. But before I give you her name, I'll take a break. Don't go away.
Coronavirus, where the nickname na COVID-19. It not be big man who sickness, so if it catch anybody, according to World Health Organization, WHO, where then they call WHO, make I show you how the disease they take spread.
Oga travel go abroad, come back with symptoms of COVID-19 infection. As he land for airport, driver go carry and come house. His wife and pikin welcome am. Cook arrange food for Oga. Houseboy and house girl pack Oga load enter house. Now so Oga begin spread this infection to him people. Driver go mechanic workshop, go spread them. Cook go open market to go buy one or two things. She go spread them too. Even house cleaner go back her house, go spread the same infection. Now so this coronavirus begin take style they spread from family to we country people.
So therefore, make we join hands, obey all the instructions where government and our medical people don't give us. So, wash your hands with water and soap regularly, or use hand sanitizer. No go join body for where people gather plenty, maintain social distancing. Above all, stay in a house as government don't advise. Stop unnecessary waka about. So make we not spread this virus.
Coronavirus. No be only big man like me they catch you. If it catch anybody, even poor man yourself if it get am. So, make we join hands together. Take stop with this deadly disease where they kill our people and they never get a cure.
Together, we go overcome if we do all the things where they tell us to do.
All right, my guest today is someone I'm sure a lot of us all know because besides all that I already mentioned, she's very importantly a philanthropist who's actually brought a whole lot of youth, to the world of science. She is Professor Diuto Esiobu. Prof, nice to have you join us. I hear the sun is coming out a little bit, so it's not so chilly anymore.
No, actually, I live in Florida where it's always sunny, the sunshine state.
Okay.
So we have a brilliant day today.
Okay, it's a brilliant day. So how is the day too? Speaking of coronavirus, what's the state of affairs there in Florida?
Oh, well, Florida is doing much better than most other states. New York, as you know, has been wrecked, but Florida has had quite a few cases and deaths, but mostly in the southeast portion of the state. But statewide, we're doing very well. We're one of the top, I would say top 7, top 10 states in terms of trying to cope with what has turned out to be a very major pandemic.
It is. It is. For me, I say it is another kind of war, more like the Third World War. But then this time around, we can't really see the enemy. We can't see the person we're fighting. One on one. I was listening to one of your presentation, not too long ago on this virus. Let me start by asking what you talked about the virus, what a virus is. For me, it brought me into another world of understanding. Can you share that again with the public?
Yes, most people are confused about what a virus is. In fact, when you listen to the news or you make a mistake of reading the WhatsApp science, you would be totally confused. But what is a virus really? A virus is a little piece of nucleic acid. In other words, it's a piece of nucleotides that every living cell has. But then it's not alive because it cannot make copies of itself. It cannot reproduce. It cannot make ATP, can't make energy or move around. But it contains a blueprint that it uses to multiply when it gets into its host. Some people often think that viruses are always bad, but not all viruses are nasty. But viruses indeed most times cause diseases.
Nobody wants to hear that really, because when you say virus, as long as we're concerned, it is one thing that we do not want to have around us, whether they are nasty or not. Now, still talking about that, I've heard that there's a big difference between having the disease and having the infection. Can you clear that for me?
Yes, indeed. In fact, it requires a lot of clarification. Every human on Earth is susceptible to this virus, this novel coronavirus. And that's because we all have the receptor to which it binds. That's a prerequisite for it to infect. So infection just means that the microorganism is replicating or that the virus is multiplying. Now, disease is when that multiplication results in damage to the host. Some people would get the disease, would get the virus, they get infected, but they won't break down because we have a strong immunity that will knock it off. So some people over a period of time will, get recover from the illness, whereas others will, from the infection, whereas others will become really sick. So the question is, do people become carriers of the virus? No, that's one word that has been misused. No human can be a carrier of this virus, but there are symptomatic persons who are infected. So, but within 14 days, they would either come down sick or they would wipe out the virus. So the word carrier of a disease has to do with length of time, how long the host coexists with a pathogen. So human beings are not carriers of this novel coronavirus, but people can be asymptomatic when they get infected without showing the symptoms, but after 14 days, they would surely show the symptoms or they kill the virus. So it's not a permanent state. People shouldn't be afraid, oh, my neighbor may have it. After 14 days, the neighbor is not ill, then your neighbor is clean.
When we hear about carriers, we actually look at it like the sickle cell anemia disease. It is either you're a carrier, the AS, or you're AA, or you're the SS. So you're telling us now that even if you are exposed to it and you carry it or you get infected, within 14 days is either you actually break down with the disease or you expel it naturally.
Our immune system conquers it, yes. Okay. No one is a permanent carrier of the disease. No one of the virus.
Okay, I'd like to know, are there people who are really predisposed? Because you just mentioned something. Some people carry it and they become asymptomatic, and at a point, it wipes away. Are there people who are prone to that? Because I've heard things like a certain blood group are not susceptible, certain blood group are also susceptible. Talk to us about it.
Well, so there is a lot of power in knowledge. And I think everyone would be able to synthesize and deduct the answers to your question. The virus cannot cause a disease in any human being or cannot infect anyone except there is a receptor for that virus. Unfortunately for the world, the receptor for this virus is the ACE2. The ACE2, angiotensin converting enzyme 2. Every human being makes that receptor. we use it to regulate our blood pressure. So every human being, no matter the age, has that receptor. So that's what predisposes every human to this infection. That's why it's been able to cause a pandemic, because it has a receptor that everybody has. The question you asked, who would get the disease? Who is going to be able to be asymptomatic and eventually become well? A lot of factors go into that, and that depends on your overall well-being. I am not quite familiar with the role of blood groups in how you respond to the infection. That's not the most important, but underlying disease conditions can predispose one. I give you one example. They tell you that many old people are predisposed to becoming very sick with this virus. One reason is that maybe their immune system is not as strong when you get to age 55, coronavirus or not, your immune system begins to wind down. So you need to do a little more exercise and eat well, get all your vitamins and stuff. Second, the receptor for this virus is upregulated in individuals who use high blood pressure medication, like lisinopril and some others. So you can see that most old people use those medications. So they have many more receptors for this virus. This is all things that people are trying to deduce, and research will eventually nail down what are the worst situations. And of course, people have asthma. You have respiratory conditions that would make the infection of the virus to be, overexpressed or to be over impact you, then you would come down with the illness. Mm-hmm. I don't want to mention diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity. Those are commonly well known. But there are other things that would cause you to be able to either ward it off or succumb to the disease. Yeah.
All right. In Nigeria, about 2 weeks now, we're beginning to see high numbers, coming up. A whole lot of things could have been responsible, including the, expansion of testing, the molecular labs. I'm wondering, what do you think we can do in Nigeria to help us? Because our numbers, as at the moment, is not that high compared to, for instance, the USA. So what can we do in Nigeria to ensure that we stay as low as possible?
The wonderful thing is that I have seen the Nigerian government and the agencies and the citizenry rise up to this challenge. I follow the news on a daily basis. I actually watch NTA, I watch the channels TV from here regularly. And I must say that I'm really proud of my people. And I want to encourage everyone to continue doing what you're doing. Obey this NCDC. Dr. Chikwe is doing a great job, the Presidential Task Force as well. So from the moment I saw the index case in Nigeria in February, I put together a package of what it would take to develop a molecular diagnostic lab, one that is open-ended, not just for the COVID-19, but that could be used eventually. I circulated it widely amongst the governments. I sent it to NIDCOM. I sent it to Dr. Chikwe himself, the NCDC. I sent it to many different people. It was my little contribution as a patriotic Nigerian to help build this lab. Now, what should Nigeria do to make sure that the good news remains good, that we don't slump down to the very difficult situation that we see in Italy, or we saw in Italy and Spain and parts of the United States of America? Number one, I think education is powerful. I think the citizenry need to know what the virus is and how it is transmitted. It should be communicated to them in their language. I see what is happening in Kano and I weep. I saw people saying Babu Corona, but there is Corona indeed. A lot of misinformation on the internet. People drink vodka so that they can get well or get rid of the virus. And all of that, those kinds of things coming from Nigeria. Education is powerful. So if there is one thing I would suggest for Nigeria to do, is to embark on correct, authentic, scientific dissemination of information that people will understand what is happening, how the disease is transmitted. When you say just wash hands, some of them wash hands and do like this, as if it is like a ritual. You know how you say, my hands are not in this. So they think that's why they're washing hands. So it's important to explain to the people about the virus. Education is important. Second big word, it's an elephant in the room. Testing, testing, testing. Because this virus has no good treatment that we know of, and there are no vaccines. The best thing we can do as a whole, as a world, is prevent it. So prevention means that we should be able to isolate people who are infected, contact trace those that have been in touch with, and make sure that it doesn't spread further. To do that requires testing. And again, I am seeing as I watch the news a lot of stories about tests that don't work. So many predatory countries are pouring into Nigeria reagents that don't work. So I recommend to the government and to all of the labs that have been accredited so far to be sure that they're using the right reagents, because you can get a false negative and release someone who's a potential who will set the whole community on fire, so to say. So if you get a false negative because you have the wrong reagents, because they haven't been stored properly, even if they were the right reagents, you would be getting false negatives. And I wonder if that is not impacting the numbers we're seeing now in Nigeria.
A lot of times we have heard that this disease is one disease that is always attacking the immune system. So it means that we must be at our A games in building our immune system. We'll get to talk about that. But I'd like to know, what are those factors really that militate against the immune system? What are the lifestyle changes we need to begin to adopt? You mentioned something like vodka.
No, vodka is not good. When I'm taking too much alcohol. Now, concerning respiratory diseases, there are many lifestyle things that we can impact or embark upon, or that we can stop doing that would cause us to be well ready to combat illnesses like this or infectious organisms. So lifestyle medicine matters a lot. It is the best in the world. So for instance, smokers should try not to smoke should try not to smoke anymore or reduce their smoking, because that affects your overall immunity response. You destabilize all of the mucus linings, the mucus secretions there. So that's one lifestyle habit that can be dropped. Taking your vitamins or fruits, drinking and being properly hydrated, you cannot overemphasize that, because we have those mucus linings and that produce a lot of mucus. They trap these viruses when we inhale them and then flush them out. You either cough it out or sneeze them out, right? If you're not well hydrated, your airways will be dry, and then likelihood of getting the infection and the virus entering into the cell is increased. So eating well, sleeping well, making sure you're properly hydrated, all of those things everyone knows, they also work here. I want to add one thing. This virus is very sneaky. It has a way of evading our immune system. It has a way of escaping recognition by what we call the RIG2 system inside the cytoplasm. So by hiding its head in, it's not recognized, and our immunity doesn't destroy it. But thank goodness we have multiple layers of infection, of immunity rather. We have multiple layers of immunity. So our body releases signals that will reinforce the initial protection, and that helps us to overcome. So every person who eats well, exercises well, drinks their water, and takes all of the fruits should be in a good position to fight this. 85% of people who get this virus will not be ill.
You know, when you were trying to tell us, when you were actually saying the things we should do to ensure that we keep our immune system top level, you mentioned sleep, but I needed to re-emphasize that, because I have seen a lot of people who take pride in telling you, what are you doing? You know, why do you go to bed by 12? Why do you go to bed before 10? You know, why do you go to bed before, if I do 4 hours? In fact, it's a bragging right. I sleep 4 hours and I'm good. I need you to tell us what's really the place of sleep, and how long should we sleep to really be able to, you know, maintain good system.
I may be guilty myself. Tell you the truth. People who don't sleep well predispose themselves to a wide range of diseases, not just COVID-19. I teach microbiomes, which is an emerging field that explains how even the human brain is controlled by microorganisms in the gut. This semester, it's one of the classes I'm teaching. It was shocking when the scientific research showed that if you interrupt your sleep rhythm and you don't sleep well, the microbial balance in your gut is shifted. So you get dysbiotic. So it's called dysbiosis. That alone, because those gut microbes regulate our immune system. They are the ones that train our immunity. So you can see how all of these are linked. If you don't sleep well, you disturb your gut microbiome. The gut microbiome, in turn, will disturb your immunity. So you become more susceptible to many different kinds of diseases. If you don't sleep well and enough, your hormonal balance will move, will shift. And depending on your age in life, it could also affect fertility. Some women who don't conceive well. So there is a wide range of effects of not sleeping enough. So people who cannot sleep, who have insomnia or other kinds of conditions, there might be some respiratory conditions, they call those apnea and so on, would need to see the sleep doctors. The sleep doctors are making a lot of money these days because they're finding out that that's important to your overall well-being.
Definitely, definitely. I share that completely with you. On a final note, what's the place of heat? I mean, drinking hot water, you know, all the stuff in building the immune system.
So I smiled because when I came to Nigeria, while it's a couple of years now, the in thing was people should drink alkaline water. I tried very hard. I made my presentations, talked to friends, and I made them do a little experiment that this is not right. Just drink regular water. The human body is very complex and sophisticated. When you drink alkaline water, it dilutes the acid in your gastric pouch, in your stomach, and it predisposes you to disease. You would need 1,000 salmonella pieces to get ill if your acid is intact. If you drink alkaline water, that number drops to 100. That is the reason many people would get typhoid fever. Salmonella causes typhoid. It is good to drink regular water. Talking about hot water, if you drink hot water from your mouth to your stomach, you have the esophagus. The reason you feel the heat when you drink hot water is because your body is taking out the excess heat, and you're sweating it out as latent heat of vaporization. By the time that water gets to your stomach, it assumes the temperature of your body. We're homeostatic. That means that your body will do everything to adjust you to the right normal temperatures and pressures of the body, the right pH, the right temperature, except if you overwhelm it. So because when you drink, you're going through the gastrointestinal route. You're not going through the respiratory route. You're not going to help COVID-19, not at all. However, drinking hot tea or inhaling steam can help open up your airways. That might be what inspired people to say, now go ahead and drink boiling water. You will just scratch your esophagus. But if you do the steam breathing that people do, it helps to open up the airways and helps you to breathe better. So no, I don't encourage drinking boiling water. Tea helps a lot. And it's a respiratory disease, COVID-19. It's not a gastrointestinal. And in any case, by the time the water gets to your tummy, it's at your normal body temperature.
All right, thank you so much. My director is actually on my neck. How time flies, so soon. I was thinking I'll have more time with you, but then it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Each time I talk with you, I feel like I'm one of your students in the classroom, and indeed I learn. Thank you so much for coming.
You're special. You've got some real special skills. Thank you for having me. Quite a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, on that lovely note, we say bye-bye on today's edition of The Woman. And I know that without actually asking, you're telling me thank you for the beautiful things you've learned today. Please, whatever you do, stay healthy. And your immune system must be at the top level. Like I always say, make sure that whatever you do, your life the game you play with it must be at the A game so that we can live to see our great-grandchildren. I'll see you again next time. Bye.